Does
What
that
I'm
mean you
saying is
can
that
kill
if
innocent
you
people?
live by the sword, you die by the sword. When
I
you, as a
see.
user, listen, if
I see. That
you
sounds an awful lot like might makes right, lady.
I just this whole debate, he was just screaming. I really wish he would stop screaming.
Sounds an awful lot like might makes right.
You like
I'm
semantics and you like
disagreeing
to
with the
define
application of
words.
the
Oh,
force doctrine. I am
hang on. Can I?
disagreeing with the application of the force doctrine. I
Okay.
don't think it is
All
good.
you're
I
doing is
think it
proving
is
the
not.
application of
Right.
the
So is that a might makes right or not? Because they keep saying we're not saying that, but everything they say, it seems like they agree that that is how things should be. Not just that's how things just are. Every time that it's brought up, it's how things are. There's nothing wrong with it. I never saw them complain about it. So does it make right? Is it wrong? Which is it?
all rights come from men. Rights come from men. You're basically begging men for rights.
They're picking one here, and I think we all know which one it is. So I don't get this whole distancing themselves away from saying, "Oh, well, we're not saying that's how things should be." Well, aren't you? What are you saying? What's the point of even bringing it up then? What does it mean? Why bring it up in these morality debates?
When you employ the force doctrine, you will always be subject to it yourself at some point. The sacking of
We agree.
you know,
But we agree.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I agree with you 100% that all people are subject to force doctrine, that is a descriptor for how the world works, including me, including you, including Marte, including Sarah, including everybody.
So how exactly? Because the force doctrine says that rights come from men. So as a man, you somehow give women rights, but there's the whole like little cop out where it's like, oh no, we have to collectively get together. But that's not really what's going on though. People have these institutions with men and women, and we have these governments that either grant certain rights, protect other natural rights if you believe in those. So what is going on here? I would really like an answer to that, because it's always said so, like, if you say something with enough confidence and matter of fact, people might believe you. And even this lady here, she's like just accepting this force doctrine as a thing. She's like, oh, this force doctrine. So here he admits that, oh, okay, so let's just grant for a second this force doctrine thing is a thing, which is okay. Here he's like, oh, well, I'm also subject to it. Well, okay, then why aren't you, fighting people here instead of talking it through? Like instead of having this little debate, this conversation that you're having, why not just get a big stick and start, bashing people over the head with it? I think where she was going with that is that if rights only exist until somebody with a bigger gun says that, oh, well, never mind, you can't do this, that's just somebody basically permitting you to do something. That's not rights anymore. Somebody owning you and just letting you do stuff sometimes, that's not rights. So in any way that people normally describe rights as, that's not it. Next point here.
The sacking of
We agree. But we agree.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I agree with you 100% that all people are subject to force doctrine, that is a descriptor for how the world works, including me, including you, including Marte, including Sarah, including everybody.
So how does that exactly work? So you're subject to this force, but you don't control it, even though men collectively are the ones granting rights, but you're just being dominated by the same stuff. Any second somebody can barge in and hit you over the head and take your stuff. Obviously that's not how the world works, right? We have all of these laws built around it, and men and women are the ones that run the police, military. There's women in positions of power in all of those places. Sure, not as much as men, but we're not talking about, oh, because most things are men and some of them are women, all men collectively get together and grant authority to women collectively. Like you can't just bunch together all men into this like singular monolith. When was the last time all men have agreed on any particular single one thing?
Can I make sure we get one element of this correct? You say that is how the world works. In your mind, is that how the world works in different to any kind of human autonomy or ability to make our own decisions? In other words, are we able to evolve beyond that reality, or is it your assessment that
What you're
we are just
talking,
that is just
yeah,
a fact of
I'll
nature
answer
and
your
inevitable?
question. What you're talking about is the idea of what is socially constructed versus what is material reality. When I ask you, sir, what is a right? What is it?
It's going to depend very much on the definition.
Yes, I'm asking for your definition. What's
So
a right?
A lot of people have trouble defining words like this on the spot. Like I do too. If somebody was like, "What's a right?" I'd be like I know what it is, but it's hard to define it in other words. When you just know, you probably don't have that like in your mind ready to go. So it's understandable, but I guess we can watch this part. It's just like, ugh.
So
A
what
right.
is a right?
And it's also a way. Notice how instead of answering the question, it's just devolved into this whole bullying the other side on why don't you know what rights are? And this question, that was a good one. And I wish we would have heard an answer to that from Andrew, but this is just him deflecting.
Right to me?
Yeah.
My rights begin where yours end.
Yeah, that doesn't tell me what a right is. That just it tells me the application you would use for what a right is. What is
It
a
sure
right?
does. A right is basically applied evenly across all people, or it is not an equal right.
That doesn't tell me what a right is. What is a right?
This continues like that. They don't get back to answering the question, as in Andrew successfully deflects into about semantics. And I agree semantics are important in situations like this, but just using it to deflect, that's just so obviously what was done here.
Why would it be bad to have a social contract of might makes right?
That be the same as being good to each other and ensuring the survival of
Why
the
would that
species
mean
makes
bad?
right.
Yeah, when you say good, good is also the product of the mind, right?
Of course, yes, but we are talking about
So then what's the issue here?
Our society is built on more than just force. And actually, I would say it's built on more of social contract rather than force. You're just saying, oh, well, these people have the guns, I'll praise people with the gun. Anytime anybody discusses rights, and even in this context, they say the rights were violated, not that they didn't exist. Even colonialism, the subject that they're discussing here, you might be able to move into a place and kill a bunch of their people, but maintaining it, that's more difficult. You can't just whip everybody into the order that you want them to be constantly. That's why we have institutions like governments and both men and women working together. That's cooperation. And I know this sounds like, oh, butterflies and rainbows and unicorns, but this is closer to reality. That's how the world works right now. I mean, do you go outside and are you afraid somebody's going to come at you with a sword and take your stuff? That kind of thing rarely happens. And if somebody does do that, they get put away because that's just not how we expect the world to be. And who puts that person away, right? I can already hear it. Oh, well, who's going to put them away? Oh, a bunch of men are going to come. Oh, it could be women. There are women in the police. Sure, just because a field is dominated, it does not mean it's just men. And another common thing, I hear this a lot on the whatever podcast where they bring this up. It's like, oh, well, women could have guns and they could use guns. And, well, who makes the guns? People, everybody, both men and women work on science and technology, and even in the military, there's all kinds of roles. And sure, men are stronger, and sure, men do dominate certain fields, but that doesn't mean it's just all collectively men. That's just factually not true. Just because in a certain profession there happens to be less women because they're less interested in it, it doesn't mean that women have to appeal to men for their rights, to like beg, please, can we have some rights? And men are just like collectively getting together and they're just like, yes, women, you may have rights for now. What are you talking? I'm gonna link this in the description. I know it's long, but I do recommend that you watch the whole thing because it's hard to describe in clips exactly how it's like, well, we're not saying it's the right thing. We're not saying we want things to be this way. We're not saying this, we're saying that, but they kind of are, because in all of the rest of the discussion where they're talking about, Native Americans and colonialism, acting like, yep, this is how things should be. Yep, this is the right thing to do. Yep, this is totally valid. So they're just validating it while turning around and saying, nope, we don't think this is right. We never said it was right. We never said it wasn't, but we never said it was right. don't have an opinion on it whatsoever. Like, come on. And I don't know if I fully get it, but I think I get it a little bit. Like, a bunch of men, they get rejected and they don't like the 304s, and they have this fantasy of like, oh, if just all of us men got together, all of these 304s, we could, take away their rights, and the world would all be good again. And it probably sucks to be rejected. Uh, I'm sorry about that, but this is not the way